the first four needs are the needs of the personality. We all find a way to be certain, even if we have to lie to ourselves or just work hard. We all find variety. We all find significance, even if it's tearing other people down. We all find at least connection, if not love. But the spiritual needs are to grow. People say, what does it take to be happy? I say one word: progress. If you're not there yet, but you are starting to make some progress in your body, or progress on your relationship, or progress on your career, your finances, you're gonna feel good. And when you achieve it, how long do you feel good for? Not very long, because when you achieve it, you stop growing, you kind of celebrate, nothing wrong with that. But how long after you get that thing you wanted are you happy? A week, a month, a year? Almost never a year. It's a short time, and the reason is we're not supposed to just sit there at the table of success and celebrate for years. We need to grow to feel alive, and everything in the universe grows or it dies. But when we grow, we have something to give. And when we give, people often say human beings are selfish. I've been selfish, I'm sure you've been at times, but that's not my core and it's not anybody's, and I'll prove it to you. When you're having, all of you at home and all of you here, when you have something great in your life that happens, you learn something, you experience something beautiful, what's the first thing you want to do?
Tell people.
Share somebody what you love. Why? Because when you share with it, it expands. See, pleasure is something coming in from the outside. Happiness is something inside you that you share. And happiness is what people really want. Pleasure, you can get pleasure from alcohol or sex or anything, but some people, it's all about me. When you're taking what's inside yourself because you've grown and you're giving to someone you love, your children, a friend, a girlfriend, boyfriend, a coworker, anybody, there's an aliveness you can't feel by yourself. There's only so much pleasure you can feel. Happiness and joy comes when that expansion is shared. In beautiful states of being, it doesn't matter what happens, you're gonna find something to enjoy and appreciate. And you and I both have interviewed people, I'm sure you have, that are born with no arms or legs, or they've lost their sight, or whatever, and they're happy.
Yes.
And then you meet billionaires or people, families, they got beautiful kids, beautiful husband, beautiful wife, and they get miserable over anything. I really believe you have to make that's the most important decision of your life, is that no matter what happens, I'm gonna live in that state. And then you have to do the work, which is, I got a 90-second rule. When I get pissed off or frustrated, suffering comes up, it always shows up. But what I decided is, within 90 seconds, I kill it. Because in that suffering state, I'm not gonna be there for my wife or my kids. In that suffering state, if I solve it, I'm gonna be miserable even though I solve it, right? I realized I would give away my happiness so easily, because look, I got 1,200 employees plus in 18 companies on multiple continents in multiple industries.
Right.
What are the chances that today somebody's going to screw up something? 100, it's 100%. And so I would be like, oh, I was so happy, and then John did this, or this person, what were they thinking? Or he opened the door in the middle of the interview, or whatever. There's always something, right? And so I decided that's the shit that's going to happen. That's part of having multi-billion-dollar companies in lots of industries. So I'm going to enjoy it. And when something doesn't work out, we'll learn from it, we'll grow. It's all small stuff, right? You don't sweat the small stuff, it's all small stuff. So I've really experienced in the last year, that's probably the greatest growth for me, is not letting that suffering last and calling it suffering, because it's inconsistent with my identity and probably yours as well, right? Yeah. So I'd never do that stuff, so I don't. And I call a spade a spade. Pissed off is suffering, worried is suffering, stressed out is suffering. And so if I know it sounds esoteric because we're doing this in 2 minutes. I usually take people now through like a day of experiences where they uncover this. I ask people, if I asked you, what are 2 of the most magnificent experiences of your life?
I mean, when I was 22, right after I graduated from Dartmouth, I was so focused on making everyone happy that I almost chose the worst possible career for my personality. It's not a bad career, it just would have been horrendous for me. I was interested in the environment, so I decided, I'll go get a law degree, and then I'll go work in Washington. And I think maybe I'll work on environmental policy, and I'd probably end up in some cube farm. And everyone was thrilled with the plan. Everyone, it turns out, but me. So here I am, I'm driving a U-Haul across country to go to law school and to get a degree in environmental law. And something started to gnaw at me. And with every single mile that I drove, my thoughts were getting louder and doubts were starting to pour in. My gut was telling me, Mel, turn the damn U-Haul around. But the problem was that everything was already in place, right? I mean, I'm already in the U-Haul, the thing is already packed, I'm already 10 miles into my drive, the tuition had been paid for the first semester, I had signed a lease. I mean, I could not undo these things. Isn't that why it's so difficult for you to make changes in your life? Because you think that things can't be undone? The fact is, any excuse that you come up with, you can undo. Tuition can be reimbursed, apartments can be leased, Plan B can be invented. So I got up, I repacked that U-Haul, and I drove out of town. I let myself make a U-turn in life. If you ever find your gut battling your head, save yourself the drama. I guarantee you your gut is right. Guarantee you your excuses can be undone. And I guarantee you you can make a U-turn in your life right now if you want to.
You ever go to the movies, and at the end of the movie, they scroll down, like the leading characters' names, and then what do they do if you keep watching it? Cab driver number 2, bouncer at the bar number 1. You ever see those faceless people? Far too many of you in your life are obsessed with what cab driver number 2 and bouncer number 1 think about what you're doing, instead of the lead characters. You're obsessed with what other people think about you. The thing that's gonna kill your dream is your addiction to other people's approval. And cab driver number 2, he ain't gonna approve of what you're doing. And at the end of your damn life, he's not gonna show up in any of the important chapters. Yet you give him all this power all the time. Stop giving people power who aren't in your book. Do your life for the leading character. You, your spouse, your children, your parents, your legacy. They're the lead characters in the story of you, of your life. Because the more you decide to take control of the narrative, of the script of your life, and you live your dream, the more likely at the end of your life, you're gonna meet that dude. You're gonna meet that woman.
To thine own self be true. You're gonna say, Robin, that sounds sort of familiar. Of course, it's Shakespeare. To thine own self be true. You know, Oscar Wilde said it so much more elegantly than I ever could. He said, be yourself, everyone else is taken. You know, Jack Welch, when he was at General Electric, one of our clients, GE, he said, never lose yourself on the way to the top. Wow, what amazing advice for you and me. Never lose yourself on the way to the top. To thine own self be true. Never betray your authenticity. Never lose your boots on the groundedness. And so to thine self be true means as you make your rise to legendary, don't forget what makes you great. Hard work, humility, serving your customers, working on your craft, playing the long game, understanding the genius takes decades versus good genetics.
Psychologists have been, not all psychologists obviously, but the psychological profession is neck deep in this pathology, has been beating the self-esteem drum for 50 years. Oh no, you're okay, you should feel good about yourself. Like, you're fine the way you are. It's like you think, well, that's a calming message for people. It's like, no, it's not. It's not at all. And I watch my audiences, it's like, it's full of people in the audience who think, I'm suffering a lot more than I think is tenable. A whole bunch of it's my fault. My life is not in the order it should be. I know I'm doing 50 things wrong. It's like, what the hell's wrong with me? What's wrong with the people around me? This is really serious. And some, well-meaning person comes up and says, you're okay just the way you are. It's like, no one wants that message. It's like, no, I'm not okay the way I am. I'm not okay at all the way I am. I know that. And so, when I'm speaking when I'm speaking now, I say to people, well, you're nowhere near what you could be. That's the positive message. It's like, yeah, you're a mess, but you don't have to stay that way. If you're a mess, you know it, obviously. You're suffering away like so much you can barely tolerate it. It's like, that's okay. You can do something about it. So that's the thing that turns the lights on. It's like, you could do something about it. It's like, oh.
Everybody lean in nice and close. Self-compassion. It's probably the most important thing that you can do for yourself is when you f*** up, you need to forgive yourself. Okay? So that's really, really important. So, and I'll walk you through an example. About 20 minutes ago, I get really frustrated when people are trying to tell me something, but they're whispering. That redlines me in a way that I can't even begin to tell you. And so it just happened while I'm here live on camera, and I hold myself to a standard of catching my emotions before they rise up. Now, this has happened twice today. The first time it happened, I caught myself, yay. The second time it happened, I was like, for real, we're doing this again? And I got very frustrated. So I was very disappointed in myself for that. but I need to be compassionate towards myself, forgive myself for that, get better, use it as practice, and remember that life isn't performance, it really is about practice. So once you can meet yourself with compassion, then you can begin to let go of whatever it is that's really with your mindset. You can get back on track, you can refocus, and don't wait till Monday. And that's a mistake that everybody makes. So if you fall off the wagon, like if I fell off the wagon at 9:58, at 9:59, I'm back on the wagon. So I'm not waiting even for 10 o'clock. Like you literally do it right there at that moment, make it a part of your identity that you're the type of person that does that. So that is really, really critical.